What's happening, people? It's your girl Nai here. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Welcome back to the Tears and Laughter podcast, the podcast that's designed to make you laugh or cry or a little bit in between, but effectively to have an amazing time. If you've been keeping up to date with what's been going on the Tears and Laughter podcast, you would have listened to episode 8. If you haven't, make sure you do scroll down below, which features Married at First Sight UK's very own sex and relationship expert, Charlene Douglas. She came through to the show, and because we had such a long conversation, this is now having to be a 2-part series. So welcome to part 2 of the Married at First Sight interview featuring Charlene Douglas on episode 8 of the Tears and Laughter podcast. I hope you enjoy, and make sure you remember to subscribe, follow, and listen to all 8 episodes. Enjoy. So let's step away from Mafs, because you're not just Married at First Sight, you're so much more.
Thank you.
What made you decide to get into the sex and therapy? Tell us a little bit about how you got into your career.
Yeah, sure. So many moons ago, I worked with young
Not that
girls.
many.
Yeah, I'm still quite young. But I worked with some young girls in secondary school. And we'd have really open conversations. I mean, they were like 14, 15-year-old girls. They would ask me anything and everything about sex, about smells, about consistency of discharge. I got everything. But what I realised is that the questions that they were asking weren't so different from the questions that adults were asking that they also didn't know.
Okay.
I think from there, it just led me onto a journey of, first of all, being an actual therapist, a psychotherapist, and learning about addiction and anxiety and stress and OCD and everything, the therapist world. And after that, I was like, what do I enjoy talking about? What do I enjoy doing? I'll be a sex therapist.
Hey!
And yeah,
She said, what do I enjoy doing?
I thought, I'd like to learn how to do that better. So I became a sex therapist. And you know what? It's been so much fun. Like, obviously, it's opened doors in terms of being on Married at First Sight. Yeah, the sex clinic before that. I did John and Lucy's Odd Couples on Channel 4 a couple of years ago as well. So it's opened lots of doors from a TV point of view. But I think more than anything else, being in a position where you can help people to have a better sexual experience, that's what I was called to do.
That's your calling, do you
That's
think?
my calling.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, that's what I was
no
called to
cap.
do. Yeah.
And obviously it's taking you to some incredible places. What kind of fulfills you the most about your role?
I think just seeing other people fulfilled. I feel like every word I use, I always feel like there's a pun in it somewhere. So even when I'm saying filled, fulfilled.
She's a giver.
Filled.
Are you a giver or a taker? That's what it is. She's a giver.
Anyway. I don't mind lying back and enjoying. But yeah, no, I think for me, just seeing other people fulfilled and happy, particularly like where I'll work with couples and they're kind of at the end of their relationship and things aren't going so well, to know that I can come in and help them to change the way they think about their sex life or just give them a bit of sex education, because there's a lot of us that just don't really know what we're doing, and we don't know the facts. There's a
lot of men that just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, but think they do.
But really think they do.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Society tells men that they've got it on lock, and some men have, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I think there are probably too many men who are doing too many men just in general, but too many men that do like the kind of 5 seconds of foreplay and then kind of going straight into it. And so, if you're like in a heterosexual relationship and you're a woman, you're enjoying the cuddle and you're like, oh, this feels really nice. This is nice. I like the cuddle. Cuddle's nice. And then you feel something just slip inside you and you're like, oh, goodness me.
It's like,
you just realise like, gosh, already.
It's like when you touch like a cold surface. So you're like, what?
It's like, what's that? Oh, what do I sit on? And you just want to cuddle. You just want to hear them breathing, and you just want to feel safe. And
what's your take on spooning and forking?
So spooning, I think, is beautiful.
Okay.
Because when we talk about like touch and hugging, it is all that kind of oxytocin release, isn't it? Kind of the feeling of safety. So that can feel quite nice. What did you say the other one was?
Forking. Oh, is
I
that
don't know if
like
it's your accent or if it's
forking?
no, you probably are saying it right, but I'm not.
Like, like I think forking is basically when you're spooning, but then you're having sex whilst you're spooning. So like,
oh, okay. I just
when it
call it
slips
scissor
in.
sex, but
Was it called?
no.
Scissor
Well,
sex?
that's what I call it, but I think
okay.
that's probably you're probably calling it a term that's
maybe
that you
then.
probably no. I hear what you mean.
Invent it.
No, I hear you. Okay. No, I hear you. I'm not sure. I feel like you just taught me something.
Hey, what forking?
Yeah, forking.
Yeah, forking.
Forking.
So obviously I love this. You've taken your skill set to a whole nother level now, and now you've even released a book.
Yay! Actually, I've got my book here. I should have actually.
So let's talk about the Come Closer book.
Yes.
Show us, okay?
Okay.
Tell us all about this.
My Come Closer book. Okay. So Come Closer, everything you ever wanted to ask a sex and relationship therapist.
Right.
Okay. Now, this book, I literally created this book because I was like, I get asked so many questions about the world of sex, like orgasms, low sex drive, should we use sex toys? My husband doesn't think we should use a sex toy because he says my penis should be enough.
Wow.
Lots of stuff in there about audio erotica. There's a whole like erotic bit of literature that I've wrote. And the idea of that is to help women in particular to understand, actually, instead of saying, I don't have much of a sex drive, or, my partner's got more of a sex drive than me, what I say to them is explore what works for you. When you know what works for you, you'll run home from work to get that.
Wow. What can readers get from? Of course, we're getting insight. We're getting advice. But what sort of advice are we giving in here? Like, what sort of dilemmas are you answering in that book?
So issues around. There's a lot of case studies in here. So there are couples that I've worked with who they're struggling where maybe both of them are really busy at work and they're struggling to kind of have that intimate connection again. So I give advice in this book on how you can kind of reignite the spark. Every chapter has an intimacy task that you can do with your partner. What I will say though, right, it's not just for couples. This is also for single people.
Okay, right. I'm single, so tell me.
And the reason I say that is because people often assume that if you want to improve the way that you see sex or your sexual performance, that you should wait until you're in a relationship to do that.
Yeah.
I say no. No? I say what you need to do is whilst you're single, you need to be sure about what does it for you, what turns you on. Okay. Through masturbation, through sex toys, through audio erotica, through ethical porn, like learn what does it for you. So when you meet someone, there's none of this like, oh, I don't really know what works for me, or I'm just going to do this because this is what society says I should do. No, This is you saying, no, this is what I like and this is what I don't like. I don't like anal sex, but you can go down on me. And I like you to go down on me for about 30 minutes or more. Okay?
Ooh, 30
that does it. And I want you to put your tongue here, there. That's the level that we're talking at.
But don't you feel like if you say that to your partner, especially if it's like first time you're going to have sex, it might scare them off?
No, not if it's the right partner.
Okay.
Not at all. I mean, look, if I've got a partner and he's saying to me, Charlene, this is how I like it, I'd like the instruction. And this is why, people say to me, oh, Charlene, I bet because you're a sex therapist, you're good at sex. And what I say to them is, yes, I am.
Yes.
And the reason why I am is because I listen. Because I listen to Spice. No, okay. The reason why I am.
With a little bit of Shensia.
Yeah, exactly. The reason why I am is because I listen to what my partner's saying that they like, but I ask questions as well. So I'll say, what do you want me to do to you? Or how do you want me to do it to you? Or how long do you normally like that for? Okay. Or what else would really turn you on? What about if I did this? Like, that's the conversation that we're having. And even, I remember with an ex, just even having that conversation was a turn on for him.
Really?
He was like, anything.
Let's go. I need to ask because I want to go into some dilemmas, but this is a big thing for me. Big thing. Oral sex, is it a must-have within the bedroom?
I think for some people. Okay. I think for some people, it helps to build that sexual charge for them and it helps them to kind of relax. Okay. But not for everyone. I think you have to be honest with yourself as well, because there are some people that are having sex with men and they're not really enjoying giving head. Okay. They don't enjoy it. They don't like it. There are some people that have sex with women and don't particularly like going down on the woman. They don't like the taste, the smell, the texture, whatever. You have to be honest with yourself. If you really don't like it, if it really makes you feel like, oh my God, sick, and there's no way around it, like you can't use food or ice, strawberries, chocolate or whatever to kind of give it that kind of ooh factor, then don't do it.
No, don't force it.
No, because there are other things that you can do. There's other fun things that you can do that can do it for you.
Like what?
Oh, you could, fingering might work for you. For example, some people might say that, fingering isn't for them, but that's probably because it's not been done correctly. So, for example, in the vagina, we know that if you put the finger too far in, then it might start to feel it might feel nice. It may not, because the sexual nerve endings are kind of like a few centimeters in the vagina.
Right. Okay.
It's not as many like deeper in.
Right.
So if you're fingering somebody, I mean, I never thought I'd be talking about fingering during the day. Actually, no, I probably did. I did think I'll talk about fingering. But if you're fingering someone that, it's kind of like around the sides, but kind of a few centimeters in. Right. And this is why if you have sex with someone with a penis, that usually it's that first bit that feels like...
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
After that, you're like, you finished yet?
So is that why?
Well, that's where the sexual nerve endings are. But I think that the more we know our bodies, the more we all know what does it for us. So a lot of us now know that the clitoris is lots of pleasure there.
Yeah.
And then you'll get a partner that'll be tapping it for England, rubbing it, spitting on it.
It's like a kill me now moment, Yeah.
And they probably watch that from porn. But what I would say is that if you learn how to caress around it, and then at the right time a little bit on it, use like the flat of your tongue, maybe the tip of your tongue. There's other things that you can do. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And be intentional with the touch. If you're licking around the clitoris, be intentional with how you're doing it. Okay. Take your time. Tease by kind of holding off a little bit.
Oh, not the tease, honey.
Notice that their body's tremoring and they want more, and then you go back. Like, that is how you have good sex.
Oh, I'm ready already.
You're flicking your hair and everything. That's okay.
Wow, I'm not gonna lie. You're right. Just even talking about it, I'm having little flips.
Yeah.
Speaking of, because this is amazing advice, and I know so many of my listeners that are listening to this right now are going to get gems. I have a few dilemmas from some of the listeners that have come in, and I was wondering if we could get some expert advice from yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
The first one I've got is, hi Charlene, absolutely love you on Mafs. What do you do if you really like a guy and he's kind of just come out of a relationship and you're on the phone with him every day? You explain that you both like each other, but he's not ready for a relationship right now, but you are, and you don't want to sit and wait for someone who's only giving you 10%, but you do really like him. She wants to know, should she cut him off or keep seeing how it goes?
I think it's difficult if you like someone to just cut them off, particularly if they haven't done anything really bad to you. But I think you have to know yourself. I would say don't get too caught up with someone who's just come out of a relationship, because you do need time to heal. I know there are a lot of people that will say, oh no, it's fine, just go into another relationship. Usually you need a bit of space to heal. So it might be that he's not really ready to give her what she wants. I would say maybe try to date other people too, so that it then means that if he's not getting back to you, you're not feeling like, oh my gosh, where is he? Gosh, he's still not responding to me, because you're out on a date or you're out having fun with someone else. It just takes the pressure off a little bit. But yeah, I do really feel sorry for her, because that's hard when you like someone. It's not easy.
Story of my life, honestly. Just as I'm jumping the queue here because I want to ask for myself, because I get priority because it's me.
It's yours.
Yeah, because I feel like one of the biggest things is I find I always attract guys that either like me only from a sexual perspective but not from a deeper perspective, or if they do, I don't like them like that, or when I do end up liking them like that, they have a girlfriend. Those are always my three scenarios. What am I doing wrong?
Yeah. Well, I think the more we say that this is what we're attracting, the more that will come our way.
Okay.
So I do think there's something about not labeling yourself as someone that attracts that. Okay. Right? But maybe it's also about, are you excited sometimes by the kind of not knowing, is it not? Because sometimes for us, we can
hate it.
But what I find interesting? Sometimes we say we hate it.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's something in us. It feels quite exciting. That kind of, I wonder if is he going to call? Is he not? Are they going to call? Maybe they're not. What I found, and this is not always the case, that sometimes people that say that they actually don't like that kind of drama, when they do get someone who's actually quite stable, they find it boring.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I find it boring. I feel like I generally don't tend to just feel physically attracted to the ones that tick all the boxes and give me the right attitude. And then the ones that they always like me. I feel like I'm always sexualized. I think that's my problem. I feel like guys will like me to an extent where it's just they want me. And then as soon as they get the cookie, it's like... They like me enough to have sex with me, but not like me enough to actually want to be my knight in shining armor.
Yeah,
that's what I feel I attract, or I find.
Do you feel like you give like enough space to sort of build the emotional connection?
No, I don't. I think I'm very full on.
I think that's the answer then, babe.
Is that what it is?
I think that's the
answer. So how do you give time to build an emotional connection? Like,
well, I think it's like getting to know each other, like doing fun activities. I feel like you have to know yourself though. So if you're in environments where you're at your house, their house, in a car, those are kind of the spaces where it's likely that if you're attracted to someone, that sex is going to happen, right? So maybe going to places where you're doing something fun like bowling, ice skating, where you're still kind of got that connection with each other and you can have a laugh, but the likelihood that sex is going to happen in a bowling alley is quite slim.
I'm freaky, but not that freaky.
So I think it's that. I think it's know yourself and like be in spaces where you know sexual activity isn't going to happen and you can actually get to know them and then go from there.
2 more dilemmas. So the first one I've got, firstly, I adore you, Charlene. I think your advice was so helpful, especially for Tasha and Paul, who are my faves. Aww. I'm currently dating a guy who's 20 years older than me. I'm 27 and he's 47, but we get along like a house on fire. Things are great, but I can't stop shaking the feeling that he thinks I'm a little girl. He makes comments about my age and can also be a little condescending. I'm worried he just sees me as a little girl and nothing else. What can I do to get him to see me as mature?
I think you have to talk to him about your anxieties and your concerns about those feelings, because it's then his responsibility to offer reassurance. He may not be aware that he's doing it. So it might be that in his mind, it's just a bit of a joke. And also sometimes when people joke in situations like that as an older person, they may actually feel a bit insecure about their age. You know, they might feel like, you know, is she going to run off with another younger guy? So I think unless you have that kind of open conversation where you say, you know what, babe, I know it's a joke, but sometimes when you say things like that, it makes me feel like not very respected, or it makes me feel a bit like less than, or that you feel like I'm a bit of a child. And then you give him the space to be able to say, no, babe, that's not what I meant at all. Sometimes I feel a bit insecure about being older, and it just starts to open up that conversation. Like communication is key, which is one of the chapters in my book as well. It talks all about communication and the best way to communicate in a relationship.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much. I've got another one. Hi, Charlene. I'm currently dating a boy and a girl at the same time. They don't know each other, but I really like them both. I've been bi for a while and have dated both genders before, but never at the same time. I'm stuck because I can feel myself really catching feelings for the girl I'm dating, but the guy is also great at sex and the sex is amazing. My family also talk about me settling down, marriage and kids. They're old school, so they don't really understand that I can do that with a girl. Help.
Oh, bless her. Oh, do you know, that is quite a dilemma, isn't it? I think, I think what happens in life is that even if our family don't agree with our relationship choices, like, and maybe I'm just that kind of old school, like a believer in love. I feel like when you have a strong connection with somebody, you're just drawn to them. It kind of doesn't matter what happens, what your parents say or what they don't say, or what the other partner does or doesn't. If you're connected to someone, you just have that connection. I think the ultimate situation is that you have that emotional, strong connection with someone, and also that the sex is great as well. So I suppose most people want that in one person.
Yeah, definitely.
But
I feel
ultimately, it kind of sounds like she's more gravitating towards the girl, like they're kind of getting on more.
Okay.
What I would say is that if the sex with the guy is better, what is it about the sex with the girl that isn't quite up to where you need it to be?
Okay.
And what conversations could you be having so that the sex can be better?
That's a really, really good point. I hope you are registering that. All right, final one before I let you go. Yeah, this one actually. I'm so sorry, guys, for the ones that have sent it. We've run out of time, but we've got one more.
We need to do part 2.
We're going to have to do a part 2. Yeah, we're just going to have to. Right, the last one is... Hi, Charlene. I have an extreme kink fetish. I like to do some different stuff in the bedroom, and I have met many women who are on the same page. The problem I'm having now is whenever I take a girl serious and let her know about what gets me off as a man, she makes an issue and we break up. Are my kinks too strong, or do I just need to wait for someone to match my level?
I would say find someone that matches your level. You know, because I think when you do, then there's no shame in your kink. I'm hoping that the kink is legal, though. I think that's
I'm
important.
not sure. There's no
to say.
specification.
Yeah, depends what the kink is. But if it's some of the kinks that maybe are in my mind, then I think it's about finding somebody that is in line with that. So there are obviously lots of apps and websites where you can meet people that are into kink, and so you can have an open conversation without feeling shame. In fact, they'll probably introduce you to new kinks that you've never even heard of, you know, and that's really important. You don't want a relationship where you feel ashamed to be yourself.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Charlene. It's been amazing. We're definitely going to have you back for part 2.
Most definitely.
What's next for you? Where can we find you? Like, what's going on? What's 2025 looking like for Charlene Douglas?
So I'm starting a master's in psychodynamic psychotherapy and counselling.
Amazing.
And I've wanted to do this forever. So I feel like everything else is kind of like on hold whilst this happens.
Right. Congratulations.
Thank
we love
you.
it, babe.
Thank you. Thank you. Obviously still promoting my book.
Yes.
And
where can we get the book?
yes, so Amazon is probably the best, most reliable place, but obviously Waterstones and all other sort of bookstores, but Amazon's probably the best place to get my book. And in terms of finding out all about the intimacy activities and resources and everything to do with sex, you can go to Charlene Douglas Official on Instagram.
Thank you so much, Charlene. This has been amazing. I'm definitely going to come and cop the book. Make sure you get it. Come closer.
Yay.
It's been an amazing. I'm just super happy to have you here, and thank you so much. And we will be having you back, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, let's answer some more dilemmas.
Yes,
yeah,
we'll have
that'd be
some
great.
more maybe we'll do like a little spin-off segment.
That would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
before the Christmas season. I love it.
Or maybe like whilst Married at First Sight's on, so that we can get my scoop on what's going on.
Okay, we're going to brainstorm. We are going to brainstorm. Thank you so much, Charlene. And make sure you go and support her. Make sure you watch her on Mafs. She's amazing, honestly, at everything she does. This has been it from me. I have been your host, Nai. Thank you so much for listening to this extra special episode of the Tears and Laughter podcast. And you can catch up on all the other episodes on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and catch full visuals on YouTube. Stay following us at Tears and Laughter podcast on all social platforms. See you in the next episode. Bye.